Okay, so when working on domain and reign, it gave you two pieces of information. How much you got paid, $15, and you make at most $585. This is your rate. Your rate is never part of your domain or range. You use it to figure it out, and what you did. So you obviously took 585 and divided by 15, and you got the 39. So both of these are correct. But when you're not given the start, the least, you don't make up something, your least is going to be 0. So you would have had it correct, but your start is going to be at 0. So the pink is the answer that you put in, and we'll go incorrect. Number 2. Domain is your X and range is your Y, so you had that. Your problem is that this is an open circle. And one of the problems, because it's an open circle, it is going to be less than or greater than, or less than equal to or greater than equal to. So your domain is your X. So you take the points and you go straight down. So this is 0. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. -1, -2, -3, -4. And so your domain should have been -4 to 5. X in the middle, and X is greater than -4, but less than equal to +5. And your range was almost, had the concept down, but we are going from the bottom of this parabola, which is here, and this is 1, so therefore that is 2. So it's going to be at 2 and go as high as 3, 4, 5, and 6. As high as 6. So, and at 6, it does not equal again, but at 2, it does. So y is greater than equal to 2, and y is less than 6. So that would be your domain and range. Okay. Number 3. So domain is your X and range is your Y. So when you write an ordered pair, they're given to you in X then Y. X then Y. So instead of using the X's for your domain, you used a point. So it's not how it works. So your domain is your X's, so it's going to go from here to here. So it's going to cover this distance. So that is from 3 to 5. So, but your format is correct. So 3 to 5. And they're both closed circles, so they're both going to be less than equal to. And then your range is your Y values. So it's, again, it goes from least to greatest. So that's going to be 1 to 9. So 1 to 9. Again, what you had in the middle is correct. Number 4 is an exponential function. And so your domain was correct. But your range doesn't keep going down forever. It only goes up forever. So this is going to continue to go this way, and this is going to continue to hug this line, which is at 1, 2, 3, 4, when y equals 4. So your asymptote is at y equals 4. So, but it never crosses the asymptote. So it gets close, but never crosses. If you want to see an equation like this and look in your calculator, you can do y equals, let's see, 5 raised to the x plus 4. And you can look at the table of that function to kind of get an idea. So your range is going to continue to go up. So it is y is greater than 4. And because it can never equal the asymptote, it won't equal. So number 5, max or min. First off, you're looking at the numbers in front of x squared. If it is positive, then your graph looks like this. It's going up. And so all three of these are positive, so they all three should look the same. So if you don't know what it looks like, then use your calculator and graph it. And look at it, don't guess. So because all three are positive, 4x squared, if there's not a number, the number is 1, so 1x squared. So the 1's positive, the other 4 is still positive. They're all three going to have a minimum because you're going to be at the bottom. Now on your CBA, not only does it ask if it's a max or a min, it wants you to give the vertex, to give the y value of the vertex. So make sure that you are able to find the vertex. So just for grins, let's look at one of these. So 4x squared minus 16x plus 14, graph. And so my vertex looks like it's at -2. So let's go to the table. And it is close to it. And notice that so between 1 and 2, we're going from positive, oh, there's a matching. It's actually at +2, sorry, when y was -2. So you see the matching, the 2 and 2. And so your table, you have 1 and 2, 2 and -2, and 3 and 2. So when you're using your calculator to find your vertex, you look for matching. If you're using Desmos, you just put your finger on it and it will pop up. So the minimum value would be -2 for that first one. And to find the minimum on all the others, we have to graph it. Okay, number 6. You're looking for the range to be less than or equal to -1. So that means that it needs to go down starting at -1. So this one would be y is less than or equal to 1, 2, -2. This one is 1, 2. This is y is less than or equal to +2. This one is the same as that one, -2, and this one is at -1. So your y value needs to go down just 1. Start at -1 and go down, and your answer should have been D. 7, you need to graph it to be able to look at it to see, first off, it's negative, so we know it's going down also. Let's look at it. Y equals -x squared minus 1. So if we know that it's negative and it's going down, then it can't be greater. It would have to be less than. So it can't be that one or that one. Just because the fact the first term, the a, the number in front of x squared, is negative. So graph, and we just want to see if it started at 0 or at -1. Well, the hump is below the axis, so it has to be at -1. So my answer is A. So if you can't see it, you need to graph it. And just for grins, the domain for both of those and all of these is all real numbers because you're going forever left and right. Range is up and down. Okay, 8. So on the first part, you look at the graph, and on your board notes, which is in Google Classroom, I give you 4 different scenarios. So you need to memorize those. If the points are not connected, you are looking for a list. If they're connected and they stop, it's a start and stop. If they have an arrow on the end, then it's a start. So just by knowing the format, then I don't even have to read anything else. My answer is C. And another reason why your answer is not correct, because it's asking for the domain. The domain is your input. That's your X values, which happens to be your years. So this is your domain. And you listed would be your range, which would be correct if it was asking for range and the dots were connected and it stopped there. Okay, 9 and 10. Obviously 9 does not have arrows on both sides, so therefore it's not all real. It is a start and a stop. And we're looking for range, so that's your Y value. So that would be here to here. So that's 0, so that's -1, -2, so it goes from -2 to 0. Y is in the middle, and because those are both open circles, they are both less than. And last but not least, your question is range. And you got super close, but that is less than. So less than isn't going to go up, less is going to go down. So it should be C, Y is greater than equal to 5. Okay, enter those in, get more math, do your extra practice, and then I'll open up your follow-up.